joining our live session. I am not going to take much time because I've already taken so much time of Srimati Syamarani Didi already. If I could ask, can you?
Is that working?
Yes, okay, I can stop speaking now. You can introduce Didi.
Okay, sorry about that, everybody. Technical problems. Vanchakalpas tubias cha, kripasindubhyeva cha, patitanam pavanabhyo, vaishnavabhyo namo namaha, om gyan tirundasya, yanjana salakaya, chakshuramitamina, tashmai shri gurave namaha, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadata Shivasadi, Gaur Bhaktivinoda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We're so happy that we have so much great guidance for this Kartik 2020. We have all of Srila Gurudev's beautiful katha. We have Tridandi's daily katha being sent to us. We have Tridandi Maharaj's katha being sent to us daily. And we have beautiful katha being shared with us daily from Srimati Syamarani Didi and Sripad Ashram Maharaj and Sripad Tridandi Maharaj and Sripad Nemi Maharaj and Sripad Bhagavat Maharaj. So we are going to be very spoilt this Kartik. So this is day 2 of Kartik, and I'm very excited to hear Syamarani Didi's offering. The format, just to remind you guys, is that Syamarani Didi will talk for 15-20 minutes, and then we'll take questions from all of you. Please send the questions in to me by chat, and then unless you want to be anonymous, in which case say so. Some people are shy, no problem. But I'm going to assume that you want to be called upon, and I'll ask you to ask the question directly to Syamarani. Thank you so much for joining us from Houston, Syamarani, and Vasanti. Thank you for arranging for Syamarani to come and join us. Haribol, Dandavat Pranams.
Vasanti Didi, we can't hear Syamarani Didi. Everyone's having problems with the mic.
Syamarani, is she speaking?
No, we can't hear them. Oh God.
Hello?
Yeah, it's very faint though. No, we can barely. I can barely. Maybe it's just me, or is everyone else? No one else can hear, right? Well, Yashodananda Prabhu also had trouble with the microphone just now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, but it's still faint.
Faint still.
Yeah, no, we can hear you, Jay.
Very good.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Yes. Agyanam timirandasya gyananjana salakaya chaksuran militam yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Because I only have a few minutes, I'm just using that as my pranam to all of our Guru Varga and starting right away. So let's start with, here we are in one universe, and Krishna has come with his planet, Goloka Vrindavan, which includes all other spiritual planets, all material universes, and he's come to Vrindavan, India, and placed the whirl of the lotus flower of his own planet and its pastimes. So here, let's start with Garuda and Kaliya. Garuda's mother is Vinata. Kaliya's mother is Kadru. And they're both wives of the same husband as Didi and Aditi, that is Kashyap Muni. And Kadru is the mother of the birds, is the mother of the snakes, serpents. And Vinata is the mother of the birds. So Vinata's main child is Garuda, and Kadru's main child is Kaliya. So Kadru never likes, she's always envious of Vinata. And so always trying to destroy her and her family or take them over, control them. So one day, as they were sitting together, Kadru said, okay, look up in the sky, and there's the sun god riding on his chariot. And you see the horses of his chariot. We know from the Bhagavatam 5th canto that the sun rides on a chariot. Are those horses white or black? And Vinata said, of course they're white. Kadru said, no, they're black. So if you're right, I will become your maidservant. And if I'm right, you have to become my maidservant forever. So she ordered her children, the serpents who were black, to cover the horse and the tail and said, look, see, it's a black horse. So now you have to be my maidservant. So Vinata's son, Garuda, felt very bad about that. And he asked Kadru, what can I do to release my mother from having to be your maidservant forever? She said, well, if you can get me the nectar, a pot of nectar from Indraloka, then I'll release her. Of course, Kadru has a bad ambition that once she feeds the nectar to her kids, the serpents, they'll be able to defeat Garuda. Kaliya will be able to defeat Garuda. So Garuda was coming back from the heavens. He defeated Indra's soldiers. He was coming back from the heavens, and he was passing through Vrindavan. And he came to a Kadamba tree. And of course, Garuda, being a pure devotee, he knows past, present, and future. And so he knew that my Lord Krishna, he'll be coming here to defeat Kaliya, my enemy. And all the other trees in this forest will be burnt by Kaliya's poison. So let me put a drop of nectar here, and that this tree will remain intact for Krishna. So you all know that Kaliya had a fight with Garuda, and Garuda was cursed by Sobari Muni that he would not be allowed into this Kaliya, this lake area. He was unlawfully cursed, and the curser, Sobari Muni, who loved the serpents, he was later on, he fell down because of his offense to Garuda. Anyway, so Kaliya knew that Garuda was cursed, that he would lose his head if he came to this lake. So he lived in the lake. There was a lake in the river Jamuna. There's a deep lake called the Hrida. And on this deep lake was an island, and he lived on the island. And sometimes land has holes that snakes go into. So he and his wives and kids lived in these holes of the island. So because of his presence there, and then in the Jamuna, all the trees were burned down by his poison. Birds would fall down almost dead from the poison. Even his coward boys were drinking the water from the Jamuna, and they fell unconscious as if dead. So Gurudev said, the nectar from Krishna's eyes glanced over the boys and brought them back to life. And then he was angry. So he jumped onto this only tree that remained, the Kadamba tree, and he dived off into the Jamuna, and big splash, which disturbed Kaliya greatly. So Kaliya grabbed Krishna and grabbed him in his coils. All of the Brijbasis were so disturbed, they wanted to jump in the Jamuna and save Krishna, but Balaram knew the power of his brothers, so he stopped them. And then to get his friends and relatives and gopis out of anxiety, Krishna broke free from the coils of Kaliya, jumped on the coils, and started dancing. Now, why did he dance? Because we know he's a show-off, especially to the gopis. And so he took the gopis and danced with them on Kaliya. They had a rasa dance, Gurudev said, on Kaliya's hoods. But anyway, Kaliya was first spitting out fire when he was fighting with Krishna, but then when Krishna was stomping on his heads, then that fire turned into blood, and he was coughing up blood, and he started surrendering, that maybe my wives were right. They told me he's the Supreme Lord, and who else could defeat me except for the Supreme Lord? So he began surrendering. And whereas previously the wives were praying to Krishna, yeah, kill him, we don't need somebody who's opposed to our bhakti like that. But then when Kaliya started surrendering, the wives said, well, now we want him to live. Why? Not that they fell in love with him all of a sudden, but now they were thinking that if we become widows, then other snakes will try and abuse us. As Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, when the womenhood are unprotected, then they're exploited by unscrupulous men. So then Krishna forgave the snake, blessed him. He was a 1,000-hooded serpent, and told him that even though now you're not going to poison anything anymore, and now you have my footprints on your head, Garuda won't come and disturb you anymore. But since everyone will be afraid of you when they see you, go back to Ramanaka Dweep in Fiji. And so they immediately left. And this was so what was it? Gurudev extensively explained Kaliya's situation in the Morning Walks book, 2008. In fact, it was the Brahma Bimohan Lila and the Kaliya punishing pastime that inspired Gurudev. He said, I want the deep meanings of these pastimes to be known. I want walk books of all my walks. This will help the devotees, and it will help the help the world. So the first walk book was 2008. That's when Gurudev ordered the book. And so there, Gurudev is explaining Kaliya's position. What is it that made him take birth as an envious snake? In his past life, this is explained by Sanatana Gosvami in his Brihat Vaishnava Toshni commentary of Srimad Bhagavatam. In his past life, he was a king, and he wanted reign in his kingdom. So the sages told him to worship the Brahmins told him to worship this one sage who lived in a tree hole or something like that. So the king went there, and he took his, he did Charanamrita to his lotus feet. But then when he understood he had leprosy, he thought, no way am I going to drink that water. But he did put the water on his head. So then the sage said, you're so envious, just like a snake. I curse you to become a snake in your next life. So therefore he became Kaliya the snake. And then what made him be able to get such a benediction as Krishna's lotus feet? Because his wives were praying that Lakshmi Devi, she's been doing austerities for thousands of years, and she's not able to get your lotus foot dust. So what austerities did this vicious snake do that he was able to get your foot dust? So what was it? Number one, he was living for some millions of years in Vrindavan. Number two, it's because his wives, who were pure devotees, prayed to Krishna to save him. And number three, because the sage, he took the sage's Charanamrita water on his head. So this was in the middle of the winter. So after Krishna sent Kaliya off and the whole family, Kaliya and his wives, were blessed, it was very cold, the middle of the winter. So Krishna was shivering. And so Surya wanted to do a service. So he put the enough heat for all the 12 aspects of the sun of all the 12 months. But Krishna not only got warm, but he started perspiring. And this place where this happened is called Praskanda Kshetra. So the place where Krishna perspired. So in the same place, Praskanda Kshetra, Advaita Acharya used to live, because he came to Vrindavan and he was staying there. And he had gotten this deity of Madan Gopal. And he was serving the deity there, but because of the fear of the Yavanas, the Muslims, he hid Gopal in the house of the Chobe mother. And you heard that whole pastime from Chaitanya Maharaj, I think, yesterday or this morning, however the timings work with the countries, that Sanatana Gosvami saw Madana-mohan and he saw him go into the deity, and then he came back to watch more pastimes. And then, he told the Chobe mother to be Brahminical. And then when she saw that the boys were, she knew that he was Krishna. When she saw that the boys were tugging on her the next day when she was being Brahminical and holding up their kitri, he said, never mind, do what you're doing that pleases the boys. Then he was about to leave. Madana-mohan said, I want to go with you. He said, I can't afford you. He said, I don't care. And you know the whole story of the salt merchant, how the salt merchant built the big temple for Madana-mohan. It's hard to get everything in 20 minutes. Of course, right next to Kaliya-daha is Prabhodananda Sarasvati Thakur's samadhi. And he wrote so many beautiful books and verses. And you heard about that from Chaitanya Maharaj, but you didn't hear the couple of verses that from Radharasa Sudhanidhi that Srila Gurudev talks about a lot, which is, one is, I asked him for one devotee, and we were in Fiji, and the devotee asked me to ask, so you've given us so many verses for the morning, are there any verses for the evening? And Gurudev said, oh, thousands. And then he said this one that was in Radharasa Sudhanidhi, Kali Kaler Balina Indriya Vairi Varga, Shri Bhakti Marga Iha Kanta Kakoti Rudha, Ha Kuyami Vikalakya Maham Karomi, Chaitanya Chandra Yadi Nadra Kripa Karosi. Oh, Chaitanya Chandra, now it is the age of Kali, my senses are very strong. My path of bhakti is covered by those, what do you call those? Brambles? I forget what you call them, those things you see. Tumbleweed of obstacles, Where shall I go? What shall I do? If you don't give me shelter of your lotus feet, I have no place else to go. That's one. And then a very rasic one in Radharasa Suranidhi, which is filled with beautiful prayers for the service of Radharani. What is that about the cleaning the kunj? Yata kinkari subahusa kaluka kuvani nityam parasya purushasya shakandamo. No, nityam parasya purushasya. No, that's a different one. Purushasha. Oh, tasya kadara sanader brishabhanujaya tatakeli kunja bhavanangana marjanisham. Oh, Srimati Radhika, please make me one of the sticks on the broom that sweeps your courtyard, where Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, comes and supplicates himself at the feet of the manjaris and begs for your darshan. So there's so many beautiful prayers that Gurudev utters often, and he also encourages us to learn. So we circumambulate his, we fall in the dust of Kaliya-daha, we fall in the dust of Advaitavat, we fall in the dust of Madana-mohana, we fall in the dust of Advaitavat, and we put that dust on our head, on our eyelids, on our, in our tongue, and on our heart for purification. And I just about did 21 minutes, so I'm going to end there. And Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol Panchakoba Triyubhyashtra Visanuvyeva Pritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. And I look forward to questions.
Beautiful. Thank you, Syamarani, Haribol, Dandavats. Thank you. We have a very insightful, very interesting first question from Subhadra Didi, from who's zooming in from Sweden. Didi, please go ahead.
Pranam, Syamarani Didi.
Dandavats.
I had to write down my question. So today, Sridhani Maharaj was sharing with us about the pastime of Krishna killing Kaliya. And
he didn't kill him, he only chastised him and sent him away.
Yeah. So he mentioned that Srila Gurudev was specific that we remember the mood which the Vrajavasis had, that they didn't see Krishna as God and capable of killing demons. So how can this type of mood be understood and cultivated in relationship to our acharyas and gurus? In other words, not having a mere Aishwarya mood towards them as well.
In the beginning, when we're just coming to or situated in Vaidhi Bhakti, it's first imperative to know about Krishna's Aishwarya feature. Because if we jump into Krishna's not God, he's an ordinary lusty man, and he steals butter and he steals wives, then we'll be sahajya and lose all of our bhakti. So like Gurudev said, Prabhupada established in the world that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and he wants me to encourage devotees to forget that he's the Supreme Lord. But that forgetting can't come artificially. It comes when we enter Raganuga Bhakti. So now we can pray the prayers of our acharyas, you mentioned in relation to Guru and acharyas. We can remember the pastimes. We can remember how the Brijbasis felt. We can utter the prayers of our acharyas to become not only Brijbasi, not only the grass, like Uddhav prayed that he was a great prime minister and friend of Krishna. Krishna told Uddhav, I see you more than I see Balaram, more than I see the goddess of fortune. That's how close we are. So now go home and go to Vrindavan and appease our mother. So Uddhava realized how close he was to Krishna. At the same time, Krishna is saying, this is my real mother. So when he went there, he realized that Krishna is fully in Vrindavan, only partly in Mathura, and he prayed when after he met the gopis and could understand their high mood, not understand because it was like looking up at a high mountain and having his hat fall down from the back, looking up at Mount Everest. And he prayed, let me become just a bush, a grass in Vrindavan so that the gopis can trample over me. So we remember the prayers of our acharyas. We remember the prayers of Prabhodananda Sarasvati Thakur. We remember the prayers of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami for the service of Srimati Radhika, like Padab Jayo Tavavina Vadadasimeva. I only ever want the service of your lotus feet. I bow down and put the Sakibhav, the mood of Lalita and Vishaka, on my head. But what I really want eternally is to be your dasi. So if that's not my mood, that I want to be her dasi, because I want so many things. I want more salt on my prasadam. I want more covers on my bed. I want everybody to appreciate me. So therefore we pray to the acharyas that please make your prayer my prayer. Make your bhajan my bhajan. Make your words and my heart one. Make your heart and my heart one. So when we enter Raganuga Bhakti, when the descent of Raganuga Bhakti comes, by the mercy of Hari Guru and Vaishnavas, at that time we can actually have that mood. Now we pray for the mood. And at the same time worship and follow all the principles of Vaidhi Bhakti. Does that answer it?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Syamarani. Can you hear me okay?
I sure can.
Okay, wonderful. I have another question here. This is an anonymous question. The Tridandi Maharaj today talked about at length about Prabhodananda Saraswati Thakur and his extensive writings and prayers. Could you tell us, are these, I think there were 19 volumes from memory he was referring to. Would this be good material to help us with our bhajan? And if so, do you know what a bona fide translation you'd recommend?
I don't know a bona fide translation. I know that there are many. I don't know about the 19. I didn't know there were so many volumes of Vrindavan Mahimamrita. Yeah, there were many, translated by my godbrother Kusakrata Prabhu. And Gurudev corrected his translations a lot when he was introducing the prayers back in 1992-93. He made a lot of corrections. My godbrother Dasaraj Sutta also made a translation of many of the books, including Radharasa Sutta Nidhi, and particularly the prayers that Gurudev has quoted are certainly good for bhajan. Like, for example, Yasha Kadapi Vasananchala Kelinota Danyati Danya Pavanena Kritartamani Yogindra Durga Magati Madhusudanopi Tasya Namostu Vrishabhanu Bhuvo Dishepi. That's one of the prayers from Radharasa Sutta Nidhi. And the meaning is that I offer my obeisances to the direction of the dust of the lotus feet of Sri Radha, who one time she was in Man. She refused to talk to Krishna because of some offense that he did. And so no matter how much he begged her, she rejected his proposals. So he went to the other side of Radhakund and lamented and felt great separation. So the air wanted to do some service. So the air took the her aroma from underneath her veil and carried it across the across Radhakund and put it under Krishna's nose, and he felt that his life had become successful. So this prayer by Prabhodananda Saraswati Thakur says that even great demigods, the topmost yogis, cannot even get a glimpse of his lotus feet. Who that Madhusudan who considers his life successful by just by getting the aroma of Srimati Radharani. There's so many Venum Karayani Patitam Skalitam Sakanda, so many where Krishna is about to faint just by getting a sidelong glance of Radharani. So they're very good for our bhajan.
Wonderful. I find it very exciting when we come across yet another, Rasik sadhu, and we realize there's another whole reservoir of nectar to imbibe and to connect with. It makes bhajan, it makes life every day ever fresh and ever exciting and ever increasing. We have a question from our dear godbrother in Connecticut, United States of America, Raghava Pandit. Haribol, Raghava.
I'll better unmute myself. I don't know what pranams, Hare Krishna.
Dhanavat Pranam, I didn't know you moved to Connecticut.
Yes, they drugged me here. I don't know what. I was kidnapped, but I'm very happily accepting. And so, but I'm just so grateful that you're doing this and sharing Harikatha, giving us a little bit of Brajmanal Parikrama, which was always a highlight of the year. That Gurudev would always instruct us to come for Gaura Purnima and Brajmanal Parikrama to recharge our batteries. And batteries have been flat for a long time, going on less than 0%, but still holding on. So this is helping us to recharge. And this is happening like with Yashodananda Prabhu's team effort, morning time, lunchtime, evening time, there's some Harikatha happening. So this is really wonderful. And I was really lamenting this morning how, we're bereft of this beautiful, occasion that would occur every year. And now because of COVID, there's not much happening. I just saw a little parikrama yesterday that Kishori and Sudevi did on Imlitala and some other places, which was like, wow. It was like being there, but it's like, there's nothing happening in Vrindavan. Well, there's everything happening in Vrindavan, but I wasn't seeing it. But I wanted to ask you, Syamarani Didi, with your permission, like, what is your favorite thing every year about the month of Kartik, or this Brajmanal Parikrama as it had been conducted for many years and decades? What was your favorite thing that you would look forward to?
My favorite thing is Gurudev's Harikatha, because that's the most easily accessible. Because when I see a pastime place and I roll in the dust and put the dust on my head, heart, tongue, eyelids, I don't realize what I'm getting. It's just intellectual. And when I see the rundown brudge and the, no plants, just like desert. In fact, I asked Gurudev once, why aren't there nice gardens in all these places? I asked him at the foot of, all those stairways going up to Krishna's footprints.
Yeah.
He said it's to make you feel separation. That's why everything looks desolate and dusty and run down. And of course, he also said, don't you see that everything is made of Chintamani stone? So because my eyes are covered by the cataract, I can't see that. But what's most easily accessible to me are the bhajans that Gurudev led the devotees. I had the devotees sing, because there's so much mood there that even a nonsense like me could appreciate. But he did say, if you're just appreciating the melody, then that's sense gratification. If you don't know the meaning, that's nothing. If you know the meaning, but not the deep meanings, that's still not very much. If you know the deep meaning, but you're not crying, that's not everything. If you're crying, but your heart is not melting, not full. If your heart is melting, then that's what we want. So we pray for that, as I just mentioned a moment ago. But the most thing that I love is Gurudev's Hari Katha, because the saffron dust particles of Krishna's lotus feet, we read in the Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, is mixed with the words coming out of the mouth of the pure devotee, because he's not even speaking, he's just being dictated to by the pastimes themselves. And so that's, for me, it's the most easily accessible. So I'm very grateful to the Audio Seva team that they send out every day. Of course, we all have our, there's the YouTube lectures and there's, our iPad lectures, but it's so nice. And additionally, that the Audio Seva team is sending out the Kartik now lectures. And before that, it was his Srimad Bhagavatam lectures. Before that, it was Venu Geet lectures or something like that. And those are the most powerful for me.
Thank you. I mean, it is truly amazing the immense value that Gurudev gave us by helping us deepen our understanding of all these Lila Kathas and the philosophical foundation and understanding, and truly like trying to imbibe and prepare our hearts for those meanings to be truly revealed so we can apply them in our lives. That is something that we will not see. I don't know, I can't say, but that the world, and Gurudev was saying it, he says, only after I'm gone, you'll realize how special this is.
And therefore we pray, that's so true, how rare was his Hari Katha. So therefore we pray, he said, pray to the books if you want the association of the people in the books, like him. And let's pick a book, Brajmandal Parikarama book. Oh Prabhu, you're not a book. You're Gurudev yourself, you're Brajmandal yourself, you're Yogamaya yourself, the embodiment of all the pastimes. You are all the pastime places, you're Radha and Krishna and all your associates, Mahaprabhu and all your associates. Please, all of you, shower your mercy on us so that we can realize what you're telling us as we're sitting at your lotus feet. And like when he was doing the, giving a talk on, he was giving a talk on how to read. So you're praying Ramananda Rai Sambad, oh Prabhu, you're not a book, you're Krishnadas Kaviraj yourself, you're Gurudev yourself, you're Prabhupada yourself, depending on whose book you're reading, you're Ramananda Rai yourself. Here we are sitting at the banks of the Godavari at your lotus feet, hearing from you. Please shower your mercy on us so that we can realize what you're personally telling us. Take away all doubts and Tattva Siddhanta and help us enter into that rus and come out as a maidservant of Srimati Radhika. So that has been a big, major change in my life, as well as when we hear his katha. Now when we hear it in the virtual means, we pray that, oh Prabhu, you're not a phone, you're not a computer, you're you yourself, and then we give the same prayer. So in the absence of that live katha, we pray like that, to the sound and to the reading.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. That was really wonderful. I just had this realization or thought that, what Gurudev was doing is really establishing us firmly in the Sambandha, with all the paraphernalia, with all the pastimes, with our acharyas, the teachings. What is our connection? What is the quality of that connection, the nature? And then also teaching us in Abhideya how to pray, how to walk in the land of Braj, and to really truly connect and reap the benefits that were intended. And then with the aim of the ultimate sadhya, the prayojan. So that yes, I was
Incredible.
Just realizing that as you were speaking.
And once, since you mentioned the prayers, and since Yashodananda Prabhu mentioned the prayers while we're chanting japa, or while we're chanting Sankirtan, he told me particularly to remember one prayer by Prabhodananda Sarasvati, that prayer that I just mentioned, Yasha Kadapi Vasananjala Kelinoti, while chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Ja.
And once he was, what you reminded me when you were speaking was that he was once giving class in Mathura on Prem Vivart of Jagadananda Pandit. And he said, if you have all the money in the world, all the wealth in the world, you cannot pay for one moment of what you're hearing from me. Isn't that amazing? Phew.
That's amazing.
Wow. Wow. Thank
Hari
you.
Bol.
Thank you.
That was super delicious. I reckon that started getting interactive between the two of you. I reckon it'd be good in this format to have two Vaishnavas just talking with one another. It'd be really cool. Beautiful. Thank you so much. We have another question, another anonymous question. Syamarani Didi, the Naga Patris, the wife of the
Naga Patnis.
Patnis, sorry, the wives. I don't know how many wives he had, but the wife. Maybe you can clarify that. But they wrote. They had 23 prayers to Krishna, pleading for his life.
They had what?
23 prayers. Begging for his life because the serpent was showing some signs of surrender. Could you expand on that aspect of the pastime?
Yes, I mentioned very briefly that first they were hoping that he would die because he was always an obstacle to their bhakti. Yes, kill him, no problem. And then when he started surrendering, they prayed. And Vasanti, is anybody out there in the temple room? Oh, well, because in his morning walk book, he gives the exact prayer in Sanskrit, and he wanted us to know that. I don't have it here in the Brajmandal Parikarama book, unless it's at the end of the chapter. Sometimes there's an end note at the end of each chapter. But anyway, the prayer, the significance, the most significant of all the prayers is that Lakshmi, and we'll be hearing about her when we go to Bailvan, Lakshmi performed austerities for thousands of years in order to be able to enter the rasa dance. But she wasn't able to do so because she maintained her mood of being the wife of being a Brahmani. And she wasn't able to, Yogamaya asked her, well, are you able to make cow dung patties? Are you able to leave your husband and go off with Krishna at night? No, 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 I'm too chaste. So then you can't enter. So they're asking, how is it that Lakshmi, although she couldn't enter into it after thousands of years of austerity, how is it that this Kaliya was able to get the dust of your lotus feet, which even Brahma and other demigods can't get? But I'm not familiar, unfortunately, with those 10 canto other 23 prayers, so I can't comment on them, unfortunately.
Okay, thanks, Syamarani. We have a question from my dear god sister over in the other side of London, Yashodhari.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that far. Don't know what to pronounce, Didi. I just wanted to ask you a quick question. We see that Parikaram, that when we're going on Parikaram, or Brajamandal Parikaram, that there's an order in which we go and visit certain places. And I was wondering if there's a significance in the order of which we go and visit these particular places, like, or is it just because of scheduling, or do we go because of a certain reason?
The only answer I know to that is, the only two answers is, one, there are many parikramas which have thousands of people of different institutions, and they don't want to collide. Sometimes in Navadvip, they collide and no one can see anything or move. So the different institutions organize that they go on different days on most occasions to different places or different timings. But the main reason is that they're following their predecessors, doing as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur did, doing as Gurudev's Guru Varga did, his Guru Maharaj did. That's the only reason that I know is following the Guru Varga. Just like we follow the way Gurudev did it. Another thing is that just practically for the devotees to bus every day and to go out from 5:30 in the morning till 5 o'clock at night is too much. So they do local and then a bus day and then another local. Like tomorrow is a bus day. It's going to Madhavan, Talavan, Kamudavan. And then the next day is back in Vrindavan, lesser number of hours. Those are, I don't know very much. That's the only thing I could come up with.
No, that's perfect. Thank you so much for answering that for me.
Syamarani, I have a question for you from myself. When we absorb ourselves in these shastras and stories and Acharya's words, it's a lot of information. It's more than information, of course, it's connection, it's mood. But the more we know, the more we realize we don't know. And also actually we have a sneaking feeling the more we realize we don't know that we don't know. It's like the universe gets bigger, the whole bhakti cosmos gets larger and larger. The more you think you know, the more you realize you just are nowhere. So that's very relishable on one level. On another level, it can feel quite overwhelming because you don't have enough years in your lifetime to read all the things you want to read and actually imbibe them. So on a practical level, we're on day 2 of Kartik. Was it your advice to me as a bhakta and the other assembled devotees in a practical way, as someone who's partaken in so many Kartiks, what is your advice to us to make the most of this most auspicious month?
Well, on the first day, very nice question, as all the questions were wonderful. On the first day, we make our vow, right? We go to the Jamuna and we make our vow, and we make our desire, make our vow to follow everything of Kartik. And you know, another name of Kartik is Niyam Seva. So there's Damodar Brat, Uja Brat, Kartik Brat, and Niyam Seva Brat. So Niyam Seva Brat means there's so many rules and regulations, do's and don'ts. One of them is not criticizing anyone for the whole month. Number 2 is not hearing criticism, not thinking, not speaking, forgiving the faults of others. Another one is not telling any lies. Another one is singing the Damodar Astakam prayers twice a day. Now, he also said during the Purushottama Mas that the same rules apply to the Purushottama Mas as apply to Kartik. So that means the prohibited foodstuffs and not taking anything but Krishna Prasadam at any time, worshiping Tulsi, Mangal Artik, unless the health prohibits it. And then if the health prohibits it, then doing it like at another time as you can, but doing it. You know what I mean? And uttering all the prayers for saying, for honoring Mahaprasadam. So these are do's and don'ts. So one thing that will help us is the do's and don'ts. Another thing that will help us is remembering the goal, because without a goal, there's no means. And regarding the overwhelmingness of the whole thing, everything comes by prayer. Prabhupada gave a nutshell. He said, yoga means to pray to Krishna, I'm fallen, please save me. That's yoga, that's all. And then, of course, he said so much else, but Prabhupada gave us so many prayers, but somehow or other with me, it didn't connect the deep meanings of the prayers and the necessity of the prayers in my life, because I didn't know what the goal was, even though Prabhupada said it. But Gurudev is putting a spotlight on Prabhupada's words so that we can see them clearly. He's giving us a shovel to dig deeply into Prabhupada's words, not Prabhupada's words, but the words that he's presented, and giving us the key to unlock the treasure chest that's within the treasure chest that's available to the whole world of Prabhupada's books. So when we're praying for that overwhelming information to come in our heart, so that it becomes us. Once we enter into, well, as another thing that Prabhupada said was, when your $1 million problems are solved, then your $10 problems are automatically solved. So the $1 million problem, of course, is Radhadasyam. So praying for that, doing everything favorable for that, rejecting everything unfavorable for that, not gossiping and things like that, that helps us to retain what we're getting and to imbibe it, so we're not just lost in the world of intellectual, I have to have that information, now that information, but it all comes and it's all satisfying, even though I'm feeling more and more far away. Because right now, because I'm on the bodily platform, the feeling far away is painful because I'm absorbed in the body. When I become like Krishnadas Kaviraj, who said I'm lower than Jagai and Madhai, and I'm lower than the worm in the stool. And when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives his prayer, Gopinath Mama Nivedana Suno, that, you've delivered so many other demons, but I'm just still stuck here. I'm attached to the 3 modes of nature, and telling all of his imagined bad qualities. That is full of pleasure. Just like problems. It's explained in Jaiva Dharma, and Gurudev explained that there are problems in Goloka Vrindavan too, but because Krishna is the center and they're worried about him, the problems are full of ecstasy. And here, because my body is the center and I'm the center, the problems are full of misery. So when I change my paradigm, which comes from all the prayers, the songs, the praying into the books, then that overwhelming, gee whiz, I'm so far away, becomes more and more satisfying. Does that make sense? Is that helpful? I can't hear you.
Yeah, no, amazing, absolutely fantastic. I mean, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna play that back before I go to sleep tonight, because there was so much in what you just said. I want to take every bit of that juice and make that happen. It's beautiful, and also it prompted something I read today. I can't remember where I read this, but it said that it's written down that instruction, don't criticize. It means don't criticize anybody.
Anybody.
So, like, for example, there's so much political nonsense going on right now with COVID, with US elections. It's so easy to be criticized.
Prayers of the
it's so easy to criticize. It's so easy to be criticized.
Krishna book.
It's so easy to be criticizing all sorts of. So this is something.
Nagapatni's prayers.
Yes. We have one other question before we close. I'm conscious that we've gotten to our 7 o'clock, your 1 o'clock.
Yes.
You take one more question?
Yes, it's up to you, totally up to you. So okay. I'm very happy that you brought up about criticizing. And Gurudev's Harmony book is like perfect.
Yes.
To scare us out of it. Because number one, we lose our bhakti. You find it. Number one, we lose our bhakti. Gurudev said it goes in the garbage can. Number two, we get the qualities that we criticize, whether or not the person has it.
Right. What about if we criticize the government?
That's under the category of Gramya Katha, village talk, mundane talk.
Right.
So many governments have come and gone. What is it to us? Okay. It doesn't even affect us.
No, true. Yeah.
Who the president is doesn't affect us at all.
Very good. That's
as
fantastic.
Devotees.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, so are you okay? Take one more question, Syamarani.
Yes.
Okay, so from California, Manini Radha Didi, please let us have your offering of questions.
Haribol, Didi. It's so nice to see you.
Manini, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranams. My question is actually one, maybe a bit of clarification, and also just to see if this is a proper conception. But in the Kaliya pastime, I know that we hear from Srila Gurudev that that Madhurya Ras includes all the other rasas. And it seems to me in this particular pastime, I can kind of see that a little bit just in the reactions of the various people involved, like how the Kadamba tree is just serving, and then how the cowherd boys are in, Sakya Ras, and they have their experience of this, and it's different than when Mother Yashoda and Nanda Baba come on the scene. They have just the feeling of, oh, my darling Krishna, is he okay? But of course, the gopis see something completely different because they are seeing him like, wow, like noticing him maybe for the first time, that he's no longer like a baby, he's dancing, and this is like, hints to the rasa dances to come. So is that one way to understand how like Krishna
not only the rasa dance to come, not rasa dance, but rasa dance.
Rasa dance, thank you.
Ras means mellow, taste,
Okay.
relationship, and ras is the dance.
Okay,
But not even to come, Krishna did rasa dance with the gopis on Kaliya's hoods.
Ah, okay, so that is, okay, Haribol, thank you. I mean, there's so much to understand, so many layers. But for me, it's like, this is one of those pastimes where I can kind of see the different rasas all present in one place. Is this a good way to understand it? And this is how we understand how Madhurya can contain all of the others, or it's just coincidental that it's like this?
Let me go back to the first canto, first verse, first chapter. Janmadhyasya yataha, that Krishna is the absolute truth, and Janmadi yasya yataha means he's the source of everything, the maintainer and the destroyer of everything. But then Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur, Srila Gurudev, is quoting his deeper meaning, that Adi Ras means Madhurya Ras. And Adi Ras, Madhurya Ras, is the source of all other rasas. And all other rasas nourish Adi Ras, Madhurya Ras. And by that nourishing the Madhurya Ras, they are nourished. For example, Krishna leaves his house and goes out to the forest to graze cows? No. He goes out because that's where he can get out of the house and meet the gopis in the secluded groves and so on. So the cows are the excuse. So Krishna loves the cows. So he'll milk the cows with his own hands. He'll put ghee on the cows' teats to milk them. He'll massage them. And then the dust of the cows also create a like a fine mist over Krishna's body when he comes back in the evening. And that mist covers his face and hair in such a way that it increases the amorous desires of the gopis. So Krishna loves the cow so much. And so the cows get nourished by nourishing the Madhurya Ras. I don't know if that helped with that particular question of yours.
Yeah, it actually, it does. I mean,
as a general principle.
Yeah, yes, Haribol. Thank you.
And thank you. Yasoda Prabhu, so you mentioned the 23 prayers of the Nagapatnis. So, of course, that's in the 10th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. But Vasanti also just got the Krishna book in the chapter called Subduing Kaliya. And we get all the English translations of those 23 prayers where they're addressing Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and how he's approached. And my dear Lord, you're equal to everyone. For you, there's no distinction between your sons, your friends, your enemies. Therefore, the punishment which you have so kindly offered to Kaliya is exactly befitting. O Lord, you have descended especially for the purpose of annihilating all kinds of disturbing elements. So, yeah, there are many, many beautiful prayers of the Nagapatnis. And they're showing that they're situated in Tattva Siddhanta. Another prayer of theirs is, you are yourself the whole universe, and yet you are the creator of the universe. You're the superintendent and maintainer of this whole universe, and you are its original cause. Although you are present within this universe, by your three qualitative incarnations, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, you are transcendental to the material creation. Although you are the cause of the appearance of all kinds of living entities, their senses, their lives, their minds, their intelligence, you are to be realized by your internal energy. Let us therefore offer you our respectful obeisances, who are unlimited, finer than the finest, the center of all creation, and the knower of everything. So yes, these prayers are very significant for us understanding the Supreme Lord. Just like the prayers of Devaki, the prayers of the personified Vedas, they're all very helpful for us.
Thank you so much, Syamarani. What a beautiful action-packed hour. It feels like about 3 minutes, to be honest. It's gone by so fast. So much nectar. Vasanti, Didi, thank you so much for organizing Syamarani to be present. We're so grateful. We're so happy that you're participating with this during Kartik. This is for our great benefit. So thank you.
Thank you for inviting me, the uninvitable.
Well, yeah. Okay. So before I hand over to our dear God sister Chandrika Didi, who's going to be singing Damodarastakam, I want to say a few quick words. I just want to mention Raghuva Pandit very kindly acknowledged the seva I was doing, but actually we're a team, Yashadari and I, and it was actually Yashadari who started the whole Zoom thing, not me. So I don't want to take any credit that's not mine. She's been amazing in initiating this and in her seva. Tomorrow we have our beautiful brother or uncle, depending on our age, Shripad Bhaktivedanta Nemi Maharaj, who will be doing Monday and Tuesdays equivalent. It will be at 6 o'clock Monday and 6 o'clock Tuesday. That is UK time, which is, we're getting very confused with time zones, but that's 1 o'clock EST. And your time in Houston, that's midday. And sorry, New Zealand, I can't work that out in my head right now, but whatever it is in New Zealand. So fabulous. So thank you so much for a beautiful hour, all you wonderful devotees. Day 2 of Kartik, and Chandrika Didi will sing Damodarastakam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm not so good with the melody, so if it's okay with everybody, please may I sing Sri Radha-kripa Kataksha instead? Is that okay?
Of course.
Okay.
She's going to sing Radha-kripa Kataksha.
Thank you for this opportunity. Jai Guru Maharaj, Jai Gurudev. Munindra Vrindavandite Triloka Shoka Harini Prasana Vajra Pankajena Kunja Bhuvilasini Brajendra Bhanu Nandani Brajendra Sunu Sangate Kadakaresha Sihamam Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam Ashoka Vriksha Balari Vatana Manda Pastite Pravala Bala Palava Prabhadarangri Komale Varabayas Varadkare Prabhuta Sambadalaye Kadakarisha Sihamam Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam Anangaranga Mangala Prasanga Bangura Pravam Savi Brahman Sasam Brahman Diganta Patane Nirantaram Vachikrita Patiti Nandanandane Kadakarisha Sihamam Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam Tadit Suvana Champaka Pradipta Gora Vigrahe Mukha Prabha Parasta Koti Sharadendu Mandale Vichitra Chitra Sancharas Chakura Shavalochane Kadakarisha Sihamam Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam Madon Madati Jovane Pramoda Mana Mandite Priyanuraga Ranjite Kalavilasa Panditi Ananya Tanya Kunja Raja Kama Keli Kovide Kada karishasi hamang kripa kataksha bhajanam. Asheshaha bhavadira hira hara bhushite. Prabhuta shata kumbha kumbha kumbhi kumbha sustani. Prashastamanda hasya chuna purna sakya sagare. Kada karishasi hamang kripa kataksha bhajanam. Minala bala balari taranga ranga dolate. Latakra lasya lola lila lochana valokane. Lala lulan milan manogya mukta mohana shite. Kada karisha sihamang kripa kataksha bhajanam. Suvana malikanjita jrireka kambu kanthaje. Trisutra mangali guna triratna dipti didhiti. Salola nila kuntalar prasuna gucha gumfite. Kada karisha sihamang kripa kataksha bhajanam. Nitamba bimba lamba mana pushpa mekala gune. Prashastaratna kinkini kalapa maja manjule. Karindra shunda dandika varoha sopa guruke. Kada karisha sihamang kripa kataksha bhajanam. Aneka manjanada manjinu paruravaskalat. Samaja raja hangsa vangsha nikvanati guruve. Vilola hema balari vidam vicharu chankrame. Kada karisha sihamang kripa kataksha bhajanam. Ananta koti Vishnu loka namra padma chachite. Imadri japulo maja virinja javara prade. Apara siddhi riddhi digda sarpadangule nake. Kada karisha sihamang kripa kataksha bhajanam. Maheshwari, Kriyeshwari, Svadeshwari, Sureshwari, Triveda Bharatishwari, Pramana Shashaneshwari, Rameshwari, Kshameshwari, Pramoda Kananeshwari, Rajeshwari, Vajadipe, Shiradike Namastite. Iti mamadbhutam stavam nishamya vanunandini. Karotu santatam janam kripa kataksha bhajanam. Bhavetateva sanjita trirupa kamanashanam. Bhavetala bhajendra sunu mandala praveshanam. Kada karisha sihamang kripa kataksha bhajanam.
Jai, really beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chandrika.